Hello everyone, this is Frankie Day from Frankie Day Models. Okay, for today I have a new build I'm doing right now. I've been on this now for about, I think about 4 days. I bought this about last Thursday. I went down to the hobby shop and I said, well, hell, Frank, I hadn't treated myself to plastic for a long time. So I'm going to go to the hobby shop to see what's shaking. So I went down there and bought me a Tamiya 1/350 scale USS Missouri, circa 1991, the Gulf War version. Okay, now I bought 2 of these. Now, this is my second rodeo on this kit here. The first one I bought was back in 1983, or 84, 83. No, it was 1983. I bought the Tamiya World War II version of their USS Missouri. Now, Big Mo is along with the rest of the Iowas, like in New Jersey and Iowa. They went through different refit programs. They must have been refitted at least 3 or 4 times, especially the aft deck, because I can remember at first when they first modernized it back in the 80s. They removed the seaplane crane, and the 2 SOC-1 Seahawk catapults were removed, and all the 20mm guns were removed, but the tubs remained. And there was a helo plat they put after the fantail. That was it. And everything else was wood. Of course, you had the Tomahawk missiles on there, the packs he had going on there and everything. Okay, this is the 1991 version. It's still a battleship, still Big Mo, just modernized to the electronics and the technology it's offered today to make it even tougher than it was back in World War II. Okay, thus far on the construction, the decks are not glued down. There's a reason why, is because I need to do some painting. I've already got the decks painted already. I applied a brown wash on the decks. Now, henceforth, there's everything out here on this thing. There's photo etch, all kinds of manufacturers that make photo etch for this thing. And there's resin parts for this thing. So if you really want to do it up right, spend the money, time ain't the problem. Either is the money. The selection is yours. If you want to build it out of the box, I'm building this one and wait to get the photo etch fittings later, or go ahead and order everything and build it as you go along. Well, me, I'm not in no hurry to get photo etch fittings. It's not going no model show. It's not going no museum. Ain't going nowhere but this here trailer. And it's come out pretty good. It's painted with haze gray, number 5H haze gray, which is the modern haze gray used today. The hull is 100% done, minus the decals and draft markers. Okay, we're going to take this camera around, swing around, take a look at it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in this thing. Here's the box that came out of it. It comes with photo etch fittings too. No railings. You got to buy those yourself. First thing I did on this hull here, I took it upside down, and there's a parting line, seam line at the bottom of it where they molded it. I wet and dried sanded it with 320 grit wet and dry sandpaper, all wet. I got down real fine. I took a buffing. I took one of my buffers over here, and I buffed tar out of it. It starts going, it starts squeaking noise. That means you got it really good. And after that, I give a light coat of gray primer on it. Let it dry overnight. Next day, I went ahead and added the screws. You get screw shaft, the outboard screw shafts. Those are your outboard shaft struts. The kit gives you 2 stainless steel propeller shafts. They're all stainless steel, 2 of them. And the 2 inboard screws, no shafts. So what what I did, use a pen vise. I opened them up in the back end, and using a toothpick, cut out the taper end so it's nice and straight. Cement the prop in there, the screw, and stuck it inside the stepping tube, stepping box inside your screws inside your hull. I gave the hull. After that was all done, I didn't add the screws yet. I had the screws last. That's the last thing. Matter of fact, I installed these screws about a couple hours ago. The rudder was installed, and the screw struts were installed. And when that was all done, I took some flat black and an aerosol can, testers. Took it outside. You don't want to do it inside here, anywhere. I've got a paint booth, but it's out there in my bunk room. I gotta bring it out. But I will not use aerosols in here. I take it outside and do it. That's the safest place to do it. Took it outside, laid this thing upside down, and sprayed the whole hull till it's Negros, all black. Now, the kit gives you really fine. It's really fine. You can see it on there. If you've built one of these before, I've got one in your stash, you understand what I'm talking about. On the boot topping there, they've already engraved where it's supposed to go. Now here's the hat trick here. I went down to O'Reilly's. I got a bunch of this pinstripe tape, automotive pinstripe tape. This is about a 1/4 inch right here, and that line is perfect. I took a pair of calipers and I measured the top of the boot line to the bottom of the boot line where it meets with anti-red fouling. And I measured the tape right here, and it works perfect. By the grace of God, it worked out good for me. Now I'll tell you what I did with this. Remember now, I painted this thing black after it was primed. Then I took this and laid this tape inside there. That's your boot tops. That's your boot topping right there. When everything else is painted, when you move the tape, you have a nice, beautiful, crisp, wonderful boot topping on there. It's not cheated. Most people, I do it a lot of times, saves time. And it's effective. You could use this for boot. If you don't want to do it that method, you take this out. You take about, this thing is about, oh, I don't know, about 1 meter long. No, it's about 30 inches long. 31 inches long. You take this tape here, stretch out 31 inches long. You take some sandpaper or a file board, and you dull that tape right there, like I'm doing right here. See it? How it's glossy right there? What you're doing, you're removing the gloss, give it some grab. When you, and take an aerosol can and paint it black and let it dry. If you don't rough this up, they'll come up, the paint will come off. Somehow and sometime you'll be handling your model and your thumbnail or something's going to catch it and you're going to peel off that paint off there. So this what it does, it dulls the surface so it gives the paint some grab. It's optional, it's up to you fellas. What I did, like I said, I painted the hull for two purposes. It's for a base color, to apply to control my haze gray paint on here, like as you see on here. And also your boot top. I don't know how this camera will come around here, but I use oils and pastels on the hull. On the deck, you have to be very careful because the planking on the deck, they give you this, like all their kits are very subtle, very subtle. Give it a very light mist of primer on the wood deck area. I prime this whole thing. I always prime my models. I give it a very light prime, not too much. You give it too much primer on there, it'll fill inside those cracks where it represents your planks at. And what it'll do is when you paint your teak paint on there, and then a wash on it where it's going to be, the wash ain't going to fall in those cracks good because they've already been filled in with too much primer. So you got to go very easy, very subtle. Most of the guys, every build I've seen of this on YouTube, they use a pre-made cut deck for it. It's yours, it's optional. I'm building this out of the box. And it came out pretty good. The deck's come off. I got a mask across here, paint that deck gray on there. I gave it a wash on there. Well, I did. I took some umber and some turpentine. Made a wash out of it. I went across it only once only. You keep going over like that with a turpentine, it'll take off the paint. No matter if it's acrylic or enamel, it'll take it off. But I use it very sparingly. I made a nice wash using a big brush. A wide brush, about a ½ inch wide brush. Matter of fact, this brush right here I used. And just gave it a nice, even wash. And let it sit there. And it came out good. In some areas, that wash really filled those planks. You can see them. It's too bad. It's a shame this camera don't pick it up. Some point in time, we'll get me a camcorder. I'll start making better videos. These things were rusty. Anybody got Google Earth? Google Earth, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. And you see the Arizona sitting there, right? You see the Missouri, right in front of the Arizona, where the war started and where the war ended. These battleships. This kit retails for $169. I got this for $104. They gave me some kind of a deal on it. Now, what I was talking about a while ago about the refit. Now, the first 1/350 scale USS Missouri ever made was not by Tamiya, and it was not by Revell. It was by an old Japanese company back in the 70s. It's called Otake Models made it. It was a gimmick model. I had one of those one time. Matter of fact, I think I still got that in my stash. It comes with a reduction gearbox, turning your 2 inboard screws only. No, actually all 4 screws it turns. It's got a reduction gearbox that it runs on. And it has a little switch over here. You turn it off and on. Works good to pull. Perfect. Even with many servos nowadays, it can be nice and radio control. After the hull was painted, lastly I added the screws on there. So like I say, on your inboard screws right here, you got 5 blades to make sure they go inside. They counter rotate, and the other ones rotate clockwise. And these were rusty, believe you me. You gotta see the one in Pearl Harbor now. It's going to shit. I mean, it's as disgraceful. You got a capital ship that has historic value. In Arizona, even the loading dock, the loading ramp, where the boat goes up to the ramp and disembarks the tourists, you can't even get aboard the monument no more because they took that down for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But, again, lack of money. That shows you, you know, man, I tell you, they're trying to change history in this country and everything. Like I say, a country has no history, has no future. Man, it's terrible. It hurts me to see something like this that needs a paint job real bad. I mean, it really does, guys. It's rust all over the place on the thing. Even when it was underway. I seen in New Jersey and Long Beach one time. It was rusty as hell. But so don't be bashful putting rust on these things. The one thing about people in America, they build their models too clean. Too clean. An Englishman, I think it was Brian King. He was a profile of a modeler, and they did a documentary on him on his models, and they're talking about the quality of models and how they are now and everything. He says, well, America, they got a very bad habit of making things too clean. So don't be bashful by putting rust on it. I use a combination of pastels and oils. Get yourself one of these and a little palette right there. And this stuff will come off. I need to put this mineral spirits and clean that oils out of there. And use that to mix it. And when you lay this on deck, use a big brush. Don't use a small one. And when it's on there, just give it a nice little couple strokes. That's all you need. And let it go. It looks very good from here. It really does. It may not be a wooden deck, but this deck, it looks good. All this is going to be nothing but deck gray back here. On the fantails, a little wood back here, and you got a little portion of wood over here. On a different refit, now on the first refit they did, when they first modernized it, this portion over here was all metal, and from here up forward was nothing but wood. And they had a couple Black Hawk helicopters on there they used on there. These turrets come off. There's a lot of pieces of these turrets. Another feature to give you too on the stand. This ship ain't going nowhere. This thing's on the stand for life because it's bolted in. They give you a hardware package. It contains two nuts, 2 bolts, and 2 stainless steel propeller shafts. That's all you get. You got to run your bolts through the stand, via to the hull. You screw your nut down there. The nut plate goes on there. You put a cap on there and tighten it from the inside, and there you go. They give you an option. They give you on this display space. If you decide to have this thing fixed like I have it here, well, I'm going to put it on a nice wood stand when I get done with it. if you want to go that route, don't screw it in. They give you another piece right there. It fits across the hull. It just lays there. You can take your model and lay on top of there. Just a conventional model stand. But this thing is pretty really mechanically sealed. I like that. Okay, that's about it, fellas. That's all I got going for you tonight. And I should have a couple more videos coming up this week. More update on this here. This is video number 1, the conclusion of my fun build of the Tamiya 1/350 scale circa 1991 Gulf War USS Missouri Big Mo. Make Mama happy. Take care of the little ones. And thank you very much, guys, for your subscribers. And thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate it, fellas. And God bless you all. And we'll catch you on the next video. And we'll see you then. It's it for Big Mo and it for me. Bye, fellas. God bless you all. Hello, everybody. It's Frankie Day again. In conclusion of the video, I'm very truly sorry. I forgot to add this in the video. In the kit, they give you a booklet. And this here booklet contains, it's in Japanese and English. It contains all the weaponry, what they've used on it, and it's all in Japanese and English, I think. Yes, English and Japanese, and it's a real nice book here. I'm so used to looking at that monitor on my TV. Please excuse me, fellas. This comes with the kit. In this kit here, in this booklet, consists of the history of the vessel itself, the launching of her, up to the surrender too. There's her firing her 16-inch salvos. And it's a spot here where they signed the surrender. A lot of good information here. That's what I like about Tamiya kits. They give you a lot of information. It's just fun reading all that stuff they give you. A lot of literature in there. I'm sorry I didn't add this a while ago, guys. That dog wanted to go outside, and the thought passed me by about this, so I don't want you guys to get this. This is how she is now in her modern attire, how she is now. She went to several refits. I think mostly was aft and armament they used. There's her measures. What, 32? Paint schedule. That's what right there is the superstructure. 16-inch guns. There's another page or whatever it's there. Yeah. The choppers, the Tomahawk missiles, the drones. The chicken wire over here. There's the chicken wire, which catches the drones. Lastly, oh yeah, in instructions, Tamiya is very, very good in giving you 2 sets of instructions. One's in Japanese and one's in English. And lastly, they give you a fold out 1/350 scale. That's a profiled outboard view. And here's a on the deck. And what they did back in the 80s, they put this on here. Everything aft was wood, everything forward was wood up to here. Then they started filling areas over in here. It came back down this way. It had wood there and metal. And finally they just fitted in the whole After that, as you can see right here. A lot of work on this thing. I've got the World War II version by Tamiya. That thing has got photo etch in it. No resin. I don't think resin was thought of back then. I think the railing set they used for it was Lauren Perry's Gold Models fitting set. Photo etch set that was made designed for that for the Missouri. Okay, that's it, guys. I'm very deeply sorry I didn't conclude that in the video. And so stay focused on next. Stay posted for a couple of videos of this week. Sometime I should have more progress done on my Battleship Missouri. I'm having so much fun building these things. And that deck came out really nice. This thing, I'm pretty well pleased. It came out all right. Yep, you can see where the wash went through the plank on this thing. It looks pretty good. Okay, this is it for Big Mo. This is it for me. Like I say again, make Mama happy and take care of your little ones and take care of yourselves. So stay posted on video number 2 for my fun build of the Tamiya 1/350 scale USS Missouri. Okay, this is Frankie Dave from Frankie Dave Model signing off. I'll catch you guys later. And God bless you all.